Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. Again, only special guests. And today we go to Jean. Jean is the owner of Arc Athletics. Jean, introduce yourself and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you, Susan. Thanks. Great to be here. Thanks for bringing me on. Nearly 15 to 20 years, I think we've known each other. But yeah, so I own Arc Athletics. It's a individual fitness training facility in Tribeca. We've had the business just celebrated 16 years. We've been doing fitness training, and we also have a physical therapy component. We have a physical therapist with us now. It's all individual or in the neighborhood. We've recently started on the virtual training, which is kind of where the world went.
I think I met you in 2001 or 2002 when I was working at Columbia, and that's when I had plantar fasciitis, and you gave me some good insights. It was a week or two before the marathon. That's when you need a good advice from an athletic trainer, right?
I was at Columbia for 5 years in the early 2000s and took care of their injured athletes as an athletic trainer.
And I have one vivid reminder. You and Ross ran the marathon, and it was in the park. You looked at me. I think Ross looked at me, come and follow us. And I just couldn't run anymore. And you two went like two gazelles ahead of me.
Yeah, that was probably the last time we ever ran faster than you.
And then one other good memory I have is when I finished my Ironman, you invited me to come and use now you have to tell us what machine that was.
Right. That's the Alter G. It's an anti-gravity treadmill. After doing something like that Ironman triathlon that you completed, it was a great way to get you in there and run at less % of your body weight hitting the ground.
It was fantastic. I still remember that. Yeah. So thank you so much. Tell us, how did it all start in a way? Like, we talk about sports, but we also talk about entrepreneurship. You're a sports person.
Right. Yeah. I've been an athletic trainer for 30 years, celebrating 30 years as an athletic trainer, taking care of injured athletes. And I also have a background in fitness as a strength coach. And so after working at Columbia, we were at the point where we're trying to think if I was going to do something like this on my own. My wife and I talked about it, and we found a place near Columbia University that we thought we could afford the rent, starting off with no clients. So we did that. That started in 2005. Since it was near the university, we did have some athletes and some of the people from Columbia coming in to kind of use my services. I remember that first month of being open, I had 22 clients. And now I've had days where I've had 22 clients. So we've just stuck with it and been patient. It's taken off.
What a cool story, right? And congratulations to 16 years as Arc Athletic. Tell us a little bit about the highlight.
I think part of the highlights are probably just the easiest to say is the people. One of the things that we're kind of thinking about recently is how somebody got to us. We always liked, if you mentioned a person's name, I would know how that person got to us. The referral tree of clients coming in to see us is kind of a funny thing to branch off of. I mean, I remember when I was uptown in the original space, one guy, you could just draw a branch. He knew this person, then he sent his brother, and his brother sent that person. It was just really fun to watch. So those referrals of how people came to us, and that's probably one of the greatest compliments somebody could pay, is send somebody to see us. Sometimes I'll say us when I really just mean me, because that makes me sound like a bigger business, Susan. That's part of it. And then the people that you meet in this neighborhood, we're in a small neighborhood downtown Manhattan called Tribeca. And that neighborhood is a great neighborhood for us to raise our kids and be a part of the community. If I'm walking around the neighborhood, I'll see people who are our clients or friends or kids' friends. It's really just nice to be able to connect with those people it's probably the greatest part. Every once in a while we get some notoriety. That's not really where we make our money. We've been in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and other magazines and some TV news and things like that. But you don't make your money off that. It's really the people.
People are happy with what you provide. Then they tell their friends, their family, and that's how they come. I see that too as an executive coach. People say, oh yeah, she really helped me. If I help you, then maybe another person needs also my help. That's the way to go. And it's a good business model.
And it's, as much as you sometimes don't think about it, it's really about sales. If people don't come in, we don't have a business. What you said, I remember hearing one of the Marriotts from the hotel company talk, and he said the same thing. He said, we treat our employees well. They treat the guests well. And if the guests have a great experience, they're going to come back. And they're going to tell other people, which is kind of how we see this. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes it happens that someone will tell their spouse or their friend to come in, and because they've had a good experience, they want their friend or spouse to come in and work with us. Now, sometimes it works if they work out with them, but many times with their other half, it may not work. There are some times when a man had brought his wife in. He was giving her suggestions, and she says, I'm working out with Jean, go do your stuff. Yep. There are some times when that works. And if those two get along, then I understand that they can work out together. And then there are times that it doesn't work out.
Learning how to drive. You don't want to do that with a family member. You rather get a person from the outside, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. You don't need family members saying, hey, keep your back straight, or you need to get lower, or they just stop. Yeah. And they say, I'm working with Jean. That also reminded me of one time I learned by training my wife early on. She wasn't super busy with all of her jobs, and I didn't have a whole lot of clients. We didn't have kids. I remember distinctly the time that she came in and I told her to do 15 of one exercise. She got to 15 and I said, do 5 more. She stopped, looked at me and said, you said do 15. I'm going to do 15. I've transformed that into, when I tell people, I say, give me 15 to 20. I give them a little bit of an out. They can stop at 15, or if they could get a few more in, we can get another extra 5. I don't push them to that extra 5. That's part of we have this moniker called Mean Gene. That's kind of it rhymes. I'm not really a mean guy, but it sounds good. Nobody really wants, if they're paying me a bunch of money, they usually don't want me to tell them that they're late. If they come in, they already know that. They don't want me to yell at them, but they do want me to help them. That's kind of what we do is, look, we're here. I'm the facilitator. People have been very happy with our services. And I say, look, I'm here. I open the doors. I give you some good guidance. I tell you what to do, and you guys go through it.
I know you're mean, Jean. Like, I only have to say, if I want to work out, it's not that it should hurt, but I should challenge myself a little bit. Right. Because if I don't challenge myself, I can also eat an ice cream, right?
That's right. Yeah, you do need to be challenged. That's what I tell people. And I notice when they're working out, I don't want it to be too easy because they don't come here for the easy stuff. And I want them to be able to succeed. I've kind of, after many years, I've learned that if a weight is too heavy for a particular exercise, I'm happy to bring it down a little bit, have them have better form, better range of motion.
And what else have you learned? I think this is the negotiation with your wife is telling, right? I'm
also a sounding board. Somebody said the other day, come in and work out at Arc Athletics and receive gene therapy. And I thought that was good because I'll have people that will confess to me things that they don't always tell other people. I remember years ago, a guy said to me, he was eating at McDonald's and then he stopped and he says, don't tell my wife. I'll hear that. I'll hear husband and wife things and spouse things. I've learned that I don't give advice. I may tell them some things that may help. I'm a sounding board. So people will occasionally tell me things that they don't always tell other people. A lot of times I'm the first to know when a woman's pregnant. She may tell her other half, but she won't tell her family yet because it's too early. But she wants to let me know so we don't push her too hard in her exercises.
What a cool job. Mean Gene and the sounding board. It's almost like the hairdresser who gets to know all the story, right?
Well, that's right. I do have one woman that comes in and tells me that her hairdresser thanks me. Because I see this woman once a week and her hairdresser only sees her every 6 weeks. Yes, I am the hairdresser.
What is your favorite sport? Like, how much do you work out?
Well, years ago at this time, I weighed about 30 pounds more than I did. I had made the excuses. I work 12 hours a day. I have kids. I'm busy. I'm doing this and that in the gym. And finally, I got to the point where I weighed more than I'd ever weighed. This was 2 years ago. And so at this point today, and probably about 6 months ago, I was about 30 pounds, or 6 months after I started, I lost 30 pounds. And so I did that by eating less. I didn't follow a plan. I just would look at what I was eating, plan it out for the day, because that's the biggest thing. I cut my calories. Like, for example, if I'm at home and there's something in front of me, there were times I would pick it up and say, I don't need this. And I would actually put it back. My kids, sometimes if they didn't finish eating something, it was easy to pick it up and eat the rest of it. But I just found that I would not do that. With cutting the calories, which is really, I think, where I lost the weight, because we tell people you lose weight in the kitchen and you get fit in the gym. I also started 2 years. I have an 82-week streak going of the Peloton. And so I do that twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do 30 minutes. I try to get 10 miles in. And then Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I do a 15-minute warm-up and about a 25-minute strength training workout. That's been going on for 2 years. I like to run. I haven't run long distances in a while. I've done 5 marathons. My last one was 3 years ago when I turned 50. I may have retired. That last marathon. As much as in my head, I think I may want to do it again. But at mile 8, I got a hamstring cramp, and it took me about an hour and a half longer than normal. The cramp wouldn't go away. I will occasionally get those. But anyway, 5 marathons. I like to run. I haven't done that in a while. And then some of my favorite sports growing up, I like to play basketball, but I haven't done that lately. I just get to help my son as he's playing basketball.
But you're always around active people, or
Yes.
people who want to be active and you want to become better. I think that's an inspiration. And the Peloton, wow.
Yeah, 82 weeks. Yeah, it's a goal. It's kind of fun. When I was in Dubai recently, they did not have a Peloton. On the Peloton app, you could do a workout.
Also, you told me before we recorded about the online training that you offer. So if people say like, oh, I cannot work out because I'm somewhere else, so we just heard it with the Peloton app, you can work from anywhere. You can do some stretching or lift up some wine bottles or whatever.
Right.
You can work anywhere, and there's so many cool stuff on video, but you also have been working out with people through the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, we did that with them. I had some people that were doing it 6 days a week. I had a young woman who was in college, and even when she started back to school, we were getting 6 days in a week. I had some people in Colorado, upstate New York, in Massachusetts, across the street who didn't want to come out. We had people like that. One woman who was between Brooklyn and Uptown and Maine and Ohio. And so she was getting in 4 days a week. And we also put together with my kids on YouTube in our ARC Athletics video, a 20-minute, no exercise equipment needed, real-time workout with some music. So it's 30 seconds each of these exercises.
Wow. I better go and look at that.
A few years ago, the baby boomers were that generation, I think it was 2006, they were starting to turn 50. I was fortunate enough to be in the New York Times, and I was on the front page of the sports section talking about the baby boomers turning 50. And as people get older, you can't always do what you used to do. I mean, I used to run a lot, and now I do some more of the bike. That baby boomer article in the New York Times was about people doing different things. Like one guy liked to run, but his knees bothered him. He was doing more boxing and upper body endurance. It's just sometimes you have to change.
I think that's a very cool advice for everybody, right? Sometimes when you're 20, we do a lot of things. And then when we get older, we just have to modify it a little bit. And it's all about being healthy and happy and being active.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you feel better when you exercise. It's kind of that opposite feeling. If you have your workout clothes on and you're supposed to go to the gym and then 4 things happen and you can't go, then you feel that guilt. So it's that opposite feeling that if you're able to go exercise and get something in, you do feel better. If you get it in the morning, you feel better the rest of the day. And then sometimes people can't. They don't like to exercise in the morning. That's why I have a busy evening schedule too.
I get to run rather
Yes.
than saying I must go and run.
Right.
We know when it's raining and it's cold in the winter, it's a little more challenging. But that's why we have Jean with this fantastic machine. We find ways, or you go at a different time.
Exactly. It clears our head. That's what we like to do.
Any final thoughts?
I don't have anything that I continuously watch. I think part of what I get my inspiration from are all the people that come in and the things that they're doing with their families, with their friends, or some travel. And it's really just about being a part of a community that I'm really appreciative that I have that, and just being able to talk to people. One of the things that we do, keep people entertained and engaged in exercise.
I think the repetition is sometimes what's boring. In a way, when I think of running, it's actually also the repetition that makes you stronger. If you always go the same loop, you can see, do I get stronger, faster? Is it easier?
Right. We like to be evaluated, and we like to see if we're able to beat what we did. We always like that personal best, that personal record. On my Peloton ride, it was the best ever. I felt pretty good. And it's a little bit of that evaluation that we like. Can I do a distance in a certain amount of time? Can I do 5 more push-ups than I did a month ago?
And it's a competition, right? When we used to do the races.
Right. And then what you just said, we call it a race.
I'm the laziest person if I don't have a goal.
Exactly. I kind of challenge myself, and sometimes I'll get on there and I'll be a little tired. 45 minutes, I'll say, I'll just do 1 mile. You're right, Susan. I get to 1 mile and I think, let's do 1 more. Let's go. You'll feel better. It's a little bit of that, sometimes we kind of push ourselves, and it's kind of nice to have somebody to help push you too. Yeah.
I think the hardest is to put on the shoes and go.
Whether you're paying for a fitness coach or you have a friend, because that camaraderie of that friend and that responsibility to that other person.
We know our pizza running group, right? We met every Tuesday, every Saturday, and this is a support.
Oh yeah, that camaraderie, and then the accountability. You're like, oh, well, everybody's waiting on me out. If there's only one person going to meet for the run, I got to be there because I told them I'd be there.
And we have to be on time when we want to go and see me and Jean, right? Thank you so much for all the insights. This was really cool. And also to reconnect with you.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Jean, for this conversation. Always fun to catch up with a person you've met a few years ago and from the running world. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday, every Wednesday. Listen on your preferred platform. You can also listen to the podcast on YouTube. The link is in the show notes. And actually, Take It from the Ironwoman started out as a book, Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels.